So, I wasn't sure if I was even going to come back to this channel. As you can see from my last upload, it's been a year. I mean, I've always uploaded pretty sporadically on here, let's be real. Like, like a handful of times in maybe every 4 years or so. But anyway, I wasn't sure if I was even going to upload on here anymore or come back and do anything, but I figured I would just make a quick little, I don't know, I guess audio recording just to catch up on where I've been in the last year and what's been going on in my life. Mostly honestly for my own record, but if anyone decides to listen to this and take something out of it, then hey, good for you. But essentially, last year was a pretty intense year for me. And this year has been more of the same, but maybe in a more upward trajectory, I would say. So yeah, the past year has been a year of a lot of change, personal growth, change in how I interact with the world, changes in how I see myself. The relationships around me have changed. So yeah, it was really just a year of just kind of going through a lot at once and needing to kind of refocus my energies more on becoming a better version of myself, more on just me sitting back and I guess really just doing a lot of introspection, a lot of self-discovery, a lot of just needing to have patience, and that's something that I am really struggling with for sure, but definitely trying to be more mindful about is just having patience, especially this year. Having patience has been a major sticking point, a major issue for me in the sense of I have improved dramatically from where I was even just a year ago, as far as just understanding myself, having a better grasp on how to communicate with people, people I've known for a long time, as well as just new people, being able to communicate my feelings, more accurately. I've been doing really well with that. And it's hard to really know if it's coming across to other people. I would like to think that it is. Even in this recording, I feel like I've just had such a far easier time articulating myself, saying what's on my mind and not getting tripped up or hung up on what I should say, what I shouldn't say, second guessing myself. I've had a lot of, success with just being able to say what I want to say and not worry so much about how it's perceived or how other people take it, because I think I'm really standing firm in the understanding of that. You can't control people's emotions, you can't control people's thoughts, and you can't control how people perceive you. As annoying as that might be sometimes, people are going to have their judgments about you. They're going to have whatever preconceived notions they've conjured up in their head, and there's nothing you can do about that. So why worry on that? Why worry about that, I should say, rather. Why focus on that and instead just focus on the things you can control, which are how you express your thoughts and feelings and how you navigate the world. So that's a very long-winded intro, and I'm going to just get into more specifics because I personally have never liked videos, or I guess what would you call this, a podcast, whatever. I've never liked when people will start to tell their story or a story and they don't give specifics and everything just sounds very whimsical and kind of elusive, and they don't really give examples for what they're talking about, and it just ends up sounding like a bunch of just I don't know, really crazy out there shit that it's just all right, get to the point, get to the meat and potatoes. Why are you talking as if you're some new age health guru or something? So basically what happened the past year is that I dealt with another kind of major bout of depression, which I think I'd been struggling with realistically for probably the past 3 years. But this presented itself differently than it has in the past. In the past, it was very much like I feel terrible, my mood is down, like everything. I'm just very fatalistic about everything. Nothing seems to go my way. I can't find like the joy in anything. But this was different than that. This was more of like I was still able to work and hang out with people and interact with people and do things the same way I'd been doing them. But I think what had happened this time was I was essentially just like silencing myself in my head, as crazy as that sounds. Like I had gotten to the point where I was going through the motions and not realizing that I wasn't happy until all of a sudden, like I just had this kind of like breakthrough moment and kind of breakdown moment where it was just like I realized I had no idea who I was, had no idea what I wanted out of life, realized that I had no goals, no ambitions, no hope for the future, and that I was essentially just, going through the motions, just kind of going day by day, not having any deeper thoughts about anything because to think about things was painful and scary. So once I reached that point, I kind of realized, like, well, one, I'm not going to continue to live like this because that's crazy. And two, in order to not continue living that way, I would have to be intentional about my growth and change and really focus on what it is that I was after. And so, of course, what that entailed was therapy, but more specifically just finding a new therapist. My old therapist, I love her still, she was great, but I had reached a point where it was just like I needed something a little bit more concrete. I also needed someone, I feel like, who didn't know me from when I was doing, like, I was at my worst, because as much as I loved my old therapist, I feel like she kind of got to this point with me where it was like, oh, you're doing so well. And like, yeah, I was, like, in comparison to where I had been, but it was like I still had areas I wanted to work on that I feel like she, I don't know, it just wasn't giving me the tools that I really needed. So I switched my therapist. I'm seeing another therapist, lovely, and I've also started EMDR therapy, which, if you want to look that up, feel free to do that. I am not going to even attempt to explain it because I'm not a mental health professional and I know the very basics of it, but like I'm not an expert. So to not, get anything wrong, I would say just look it up. But since starting that, I feel like I have made a lot of strides with some like deeper rooted things that were kind of lingering in the back of my mind that I really wanted to work on in order to just continue to elevate myself and continue to be aware of how things, how I react to things, how things affect me on like a deeper level, like my nervous system and stuff, and just really getting a handle on that. Not like reacting, not having like these triggers and things that would like set me off internally in a way that made it difficult for me to articulate myself and made it difficult for me to just stay in tune with my emotions. So that's what I started working on. So that was one of the like major things that's changed for me in the past year. I ended a long-term relationship. I was in a relationship for almost 6 years, and that ended for a variety of reasons. We are still friends, so that's one thing that I am honestly grateful for, is just the fact that I was able to navigate such a difficult experience and such a challenging and like emotionally draining, taxing experience on all levels. Like I was able to tackle that, not without obviously tears, not without having challenges, but I guess the fact that I was even able to like bring up how I was feeling and to take that initiative to be like, I don't think this is right for me anymore. I don't know, sometimes I have to just sit and acknowledge that, like, that took a lot of courage, and that took a lot of strength, and it took a lot of resilience, and I am proud of myself for that still. So ended a almost 6-year relationship, which of course, like I said, that was a lot. Also, I came to terms with my own sexuality, and I came out, like, I guess, I wouldn't say publicly, because I've never been a big like public coming out type person, in the sense that like I don't think anyone owes anybody that, and I think it's very personal and it's on a person by person basis whether you want to do that or not, if you're safe enough to do that or not. In my case, I was relatively safe enough to come out to some people that were close to me, family that I felt close enough to share the information with, and so of course like that was one of the reasons my relationship, I had to end it, but it wasn't the main reason, funnily enough. But yeah, so just coming to terms with that, and what that means for me, and just like going through like and thinking about moments in my past and past relationships even, and how I navigated those. So that was another like huge thing for me to tackle, and that I'm still tackling. Um, and I guess on top of all of that, like I turned 30 last year, so that's like a huge milestone. And I think I found it very funny. Like it's something that's brought me a lot of like humor, I guess, is to just sit and think like I turned 30 and I'm having all of these revelations, all of these life changes, which people always say like, yeah, 30 is like when you really come into your own. I never really understood that until now. Like I really do feel like despite all the challenges I've gone through, like 30 has been like my most illuminating year. It's been the year I feel most confident and most self-assured, most, I guess, how do I want to word this? I feel like I am exactly where I need to be, and that in continuing on this path, I will only be getting better. Yeah, I think that's the best way to phrase it. So yeah, 30 has just been wild on a personal level, but on an artistic level, like I also have been really leaning into learning new things, trying new things. I've actually started making miniatures out of air dry clay. And that's something I never thought I would be able to do, because I remember back in high school, like visualizing things in 3D has always been difficult for me, and I struggled really badly with sculpture in high school. Like I had a hard time translating what was in my head into 3D form. So I always told myself like, yeah, you'll never be a sculptor. That's not something that's in your wheelhouse. You know, just stick to 2D, stick to painting, stick to digital work and things like that. But at the end of last year, I really wanted to, I was just itching to do something new artistically. And I specifically wanted to do something with my hands, because I realized like I just wanted to, I don't know, really get into something in a way that like painting, while it kind of scratches that itch slightly, it doesn't like really get in there like with clay and, you know, anything where you have to work with your hands more, I guess, diligently. So, yeah, I decided I was going to I got gift cards for my job for the holidays, which I had no idea what to use them for. And then I, you know, randomly just decided, you know what, I might as well use them to purchase all these art supplies. Because one of the things that I was like also using as like a, oh, I can't do this, is that like, yeah, buying a bunch of new art supplies is expensive. And I was like, I don't want to spend the money on something that like, if I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it, it's going to be a lot of wasted money and a lot of wasted materials. But I got to the point where it's like, you know what, who cares? I'll use my gift cards for this. At least that way I'll feel like I'm not spending my own money. And we'll just see how it goes. If I like it, great. If I don't like it, whatever, I tried. And so fast forward to now, it turns out I love it. It's something that I have a lot of fun with. I realize I really like doing all like the fine detail work that's required for miniatures. So I've been really leaning into that. I've made keychains, magnets. I'm thinking about making like pins as well. But yeah, I've just really gotten into that. I still do art shows here and there, but I know I made a video about this a while ago about burnout, and then also just like not monetizing everything. So yeah, I don't do that as like my full-time job. I still have my job, which that's one of the things that has not changed, and I'm grateful for, because I love my job. It's great. But yeah, so I do art shows occasionally here and there to get out there. I've actually had more success this year with art shows than I have in my entire like art career, I guess you could call it, quote unquote career. Especially when I first started and I was like really heavily like doing shows quite often. Like this year I've done my best as far as like people being engaged with my work, as far as like selling work, like selling originals. Like I've sold so many original paintings, it's crazy. And I think that's a testament to where my mind is now, as like, I don't know, maybe like ooh ooh. I meant to say woo woo, but you know, that old anime nerd in me just had to leap out right there. Not to sound all new agey about it, but I do think there's something to be said for your work kind of reflecting where you are mentally, and I think that's reflected in my work now. And I now primarily focus on, I think I mentioned this in my last video as well, I just do food illustrations, and I also, like, my miniatures are all food related because that's what brings me joy now. That's something I really like to do. It's relaxing, it's fun, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it because that's what's fun for me. So yeah, art wise, like that's been going well. But yeah, it's really just been a year of a lot of change, a lot of just figuring myself out, a lot of putting myself out there. Like I've done so many things I like never thought I would do ever in my life. Like one of the craziest things I did this year was I actually did a speed dating event, and that was like so fun. And something I like years ago, especially when my anxiety was so high, it kept me like almost debilitated to the point where it's just like the thought of even just like going outside sometimes was like it was too much to even think about. I wouldn't say like I wasn't fully agoraphobic or anything, but it was a challenge to like convince myself that it was worth trying new things. And now I'm in the mindset of like I try new things all the time now because I'm like, you only get one life and life is so short, and it's just like, why hold yourself back from things even if you think like, oh, maybe I won't like it? It's like, how would you know until you tried it? So yeah, that's what I did with speed dating. Like I found a speed dating event, like a queer speed dating event. I signed up, I went. I didn't meet anyone as far as like long-term relationships or whatever, but I didn't go into it thinking that that was going to happen. I kind of went into it just like I said, like never done this before, seems like it might be fun, let's give it a shot. So like I went, and I will say, this is something I was telling to some people in real life, like in real life, my friends and such, that I would recommend it even if like you don't get a relationship out of it, just because I think it's such a fun way to meet new people and like practice your communication skills. Like I met so many people that had like such interesting lives and backstories that like I never would have met otherwise. I had some genuinely engaging conversations. Like it was really fun. And I think that is beneficial in and of itself, like just putting yourself in environments where you're going to be around people who aren't like you, and who you might like glean something interesting about. I think that's fun. So yeah, I did that. That was fun. I've done the whole dating app thing, of course, which is not as fun, but honestly, like I've also met people on there who like had interesting lives and who I've connected with on some level, and like that's really cool. What else has gone on in the past year? I recently got out of a very short-term relationship. Again, one of those things where it's just like, I would have never guessed a year ago that this is where I would be now. And it's funny because initially, like, yes, I took it pretty hard, but like, it took me not that long to like recover, again, quote unquote recover, in the sense of like, not saying I'm like a heartless, cold person, I don't have feelings, I don't care, but in the past, like, any time like something would go wrong in a relationship or like a relationship would end, I would have such a difficult time getting out of that funk. Like it would take me a really, really long time to get back to myself. I would spend a lot of time like blaming myself for things that weren't my fault. I would spend a lot of time just like overanalyzing and catastrophizing, and my anxiety would get crazy. And now I'm at the point where it's just like things don't work out, and yeah, of course that sucks, but I'm able to more easily tell myself that like, hey, like you're doing fine, you're a good person. Sometimes things don't work, that's just the way life is. You can't give up, get back on the horse, get back out there, keep moving. There are plenty of other things to do in life. And genuinely mean it. And I think that's the crazy part, is like in the past that was something I would like hear people say to tell yourself, or maybe try to tell myself, and it would always circle back around to be like, well, this is stupid, this doesn't work, like this is dumb, people are liars. But now it's just like, no, like I genuinely feel that way, and I'm able to say that and continue moving on. And I think again, how do I want to phrase this? I guess one more good thing about this past year that's been kind of helping me navigate all these new challenges and like new environments is just really leaning on my support system and really appreciating my friends and family, and really, I guess, resting in gratitude. That's something I've really been doing lately, is really stepping back and looking objectively at my life and thinking, you know what, like I've got it pretty good. Like seeing the people in my life who have been there for me for years, who are always there for me when I'm going through struggles, who reach out to me, who spend time with me, who make me laugh, who inspire me, like that's something that a lot of people don't have, and I am so, so, so grateful for that. And that's something that I really try to take time to remember, and I also try to take time to let people know how much they mean to me. Because that's something in the past, like with navigating my feelings and emotions, I really used to get hung up and caught up on being seen as weird or annoying, or like, oh, you can't tell people you love them, you can't tell people like you had fun with them or whatever. Like it's, I know people joke about this nowadays on social media, how everyone wants to be nonchalant, but I really fed into that. And now I'm just like, I don't care about being nonchalant. I care about being a fully actualized human being. I care about communicating authentically and openly. And I care about letting the people I know that, ooh, what was I gonna say there? See, sometimes my train of thought just runs away from me. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. I care about letting the people in my life know that I love them when it comes up in my head. And I don't feel ashamed of that, and I don't think it's a weird thing to do, and I think we should embrace that. Hell, like even if it's times where I just like, if I have a thought pop in my head, like I haven't talked to this person in a while, or like I want to text this person, I just do it because there's nothing holding me back, and there's no reason that I shouldn't, so I do. And yeah, that's just another thing I've just been taking as far as like doing new things. Is like whenever I think of something, or I even like I don't know, even like fleetingly think like, oh, maybe this would be interesting, I look into it and I do it. Hell, I thinking about new things I've also done this year, like just kind of going back to the art thing. Like I took a pottery class, and in the past that's something that like I've always said I wanted to do, but like I never really did. And kind of how I brought up earlier, how in high school, like doing pottery and stuff, like I got really anxious about doing things properly. Like this time I took the class and I had fun the entire time. I didn't worry about like how my mug was going to look. I didn't care about like being perfect. I cared more about like just being in that moment and just having the experience and enjoying it for what it was. And I had such a blast. I did it with a close friend. Like me and her had a great time. My mug did not come out anything like how I imagined it would come out. And you know what? I still love it. It's weird. It's a little lopsided. The colors didn't come out correctly. And it's amazing to look at something and be like, yeah, I made that and I had a good time making it. What else? Plants. Oh my God. This is something also I never thought I would get into because in the past, whenever I was like gifted a plant or like flowers or something, they would always die. And I'd convinced myself that like, oh, I just don't have a green thumb. Like I'm just not going to be good at taking care of plants. I'm just bad at it and there's no way I'm gonna change. But I have a close friend who's really into plants. I mean, I have several who are really into plants, but this one in particular, just like recently, like really got into plants, and she's been like, you know, she'll tell me about her plants and like how things are going. And one day she asked me if I wanted to go with her to a plant nursery, and I was like, yeah, sure. I had no intentions of picking up a plant, but just getting there, we were walking around. I saw a plant that I really thought was like very beautiful, and I liked it. So I decided to pick it up. I had no idea whether it was going to survive or not. I didn't know if I would kill it. I bought it. Maybe that was, when was that? April, I want to say. I got it in April. It's nearly the end of July and she is thriving. My plant is thriving. She's doing so well. And all I've been doing is literally just watering the plant when it gets dry and keeping it in sunlight. And it's been like flourishing. So just seeing that, like, wow, I can take care of plants and like this plant is doing well and I check it every day and it's like, I don't know, it's also giving me this sense of like accomplishment to be like, wow, I really did this. And I'm already planning on like getting more plants. So that's something, again, this past year I never thought I would get into. I did that. What else have I done this year that's like, you told me 5 years ago that this would be something I would do, I'd be like, yeah, right. Oh, baby goat yoga. I did yoga with baby goats. Like, what? And they were so adorable. And this is something like, yeah, years ago, if you told me, like, I would be like, no, I don't want to be around, like, farm animals. I don't know. I have this weird thing about, like, getting bit by, like, animals. Or it's like if something bad happens, you know what I mean? Like, you always think of, at least when I was at my worst, like, you think of the worst case scenario all the time. But this time, like, I was offered to go. I didn't think about it at all. I was just like, yeah, it's something I've never done before. Let's do it. I did it. The animals were amazing. The yoga was great. It was hot as hell outside. I was sweating by the time I was done. I had a blast. Yeah, and these are just things I think about where it's just like, even if like you do something and it doesn't go the way you planned, or like, hey, maybe you do something and it's like, well, this wasn't for me. At least you tried it, right? Like at least you got to have that experience. Hell, in 2 weeks, no, a week actually, I think a little over a week, I'm going to be trying a kickboxing class. Because that's also something that I was like, yeah, I always said I wanted to get into kickboxing, but I never like just took the time to do it. I think, I don't know, what this all boils down to is like I've hit 30 and realized like, oh, I have free will. It's another thing people joke about online, like, oh, realizing you have free will. But no, I think I hit 30 and really realized, like, I can do whatever I want at any point. And that's not in, like, a crazy, crazy way, like, be like the Joker. I'm gonna, do bad things. It's like, yeah, no, I can just realizing that you truly do have control over your life. In that way. And this is not to say that, like, obviously there are societal factors at play here. You can't control whether you get a job or whatever, or like whether you have money. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, you can't, like, not one of those pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And if you have a positive mindset, then everything will work out in your favor. Like, yeah, no, I'm not one of those people. I'm not delusional. But I guess, like, just realizing that, like, you truly do control yourself, I guess is a better way to put it. Like, you control how you react to things, when you decide to do things, how you decide to do them. And so, yeah, realizing I had free will and I could choose to take a class, I could choose to go places, I could choose to just do the things that I've wanted to do. And, like, nobody was going to stop me from doing that. Like, that's really been a breath of fresh air for me. Just realizing I could do those things. Oh, another thing, I started learning Mandarin, which I've kind of fallen off. I started last year around maybe November, and I was in a steady clip for a while, but holidays, and then I was dealing with some like personal family issues as well, like people being in the hospital and things like that. So like I kind of fell off of my language learning, but I'm planning on picking that up again. But yeah, I started like learning Mandarin, and that's another thing that it's just like also realizing that like you don't have to do everything at the same time, and you also don't have to become like a professional or an expert at things to try them. Like knowing that like I can pick up learning a language at any point. I'm not going to be like a master language learner. I'm not going to be like proficient at Mandarin, but that's fine because just learning it is fun. It's helped me pick up on like random words and phrases when I watch the shows that I like to watch. So that's been great. That's basically the only reason that I decided to pick it up, because I just wanted to like be able to learn enough to be able to pick up on things when I'm watching my favorite like C-dramas. So yeah, just realizing like you can pick things up at any point in time. Like hell, I hadn't painted for like basically almost a year, and I just finished a painting a couple weeks ago because like yeah, I hadn't painted almost a year. Decided to pick up a paintbrush, made a painting. It's like things are always going to be there for you. So like hobbies, like you don't have to limit yourself. I think I always used to tell myself like you could only do one or two things and you had to be amazing at them and you couldn't have too many hobbies. And now I'm just like, as long as you're like responsible about it and you're not like racking up credit card debt or something, it's like it's fine to try all the things that you want to try. It's fine to not be good at them either. I think it's fine to just do something like, yeah, I'm not good at it, but it's fun. Like that's okay. What else have I been doing? I've just also, like I said, I'm really using this as kind of a log to keep track of like how much I've changed, how much I've grown, all the things I've done so far this year, and the year's not even over yet. But yeah, I mean, it's, the expense of just rambling on and on forever, I will think I'm just gonna relatively end it here. It's been about 30 minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick catch up on where I've been, what I've been doing for the past year. As far as this channel, I never make promises because as you can see, I come back here like every 4 years just to randomly update about like what's been going on or if I have something interesting to talk about, which isn't very often because I don't like to really record or take pictures and videos and all that kind of stuff. I like to just be in the moment. But I've been trying to be better about journaling. That's another thing I've picked up again this year, is just writing things down, my thoughts and all that stuff, reading. I've gotten back into reading more regularly, which is something I also fell off on a long time ago and just never really picked back up. So yeah, just doing hobbies, living life, trying to improve and be the best version of me that I can, and that's basically where I've been. Yeah, thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, this is gonna have minimal editing because again, I just do this for fun, and I guess I will see you guys whenever or if I decide to come back again. I'll see you later.